Good afternoon, and welcome to the Monday, September 8th, 2008 informational meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and the first order of business that we have today, City Council staff report from Deborah Owen, City Clerk.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Sioux Falls City Council. If I could just address you today from the podium, I just wanted to show you on the overhead camera, you can see the stop-in for the coffee with the council was actually designed by city staff person Kathy Rustrick, but we had a coffee this last weekend. Unfortunately, when we had press released it, the media did not pick it up, and so we didn't have any coverage on TV or in the or in the paper, but we did go ahead and have that. That was a banner that we had hung outside, and we also had a sign that you can see here we put when you walked in the building. In hopes that down the road we'll get some more, or we get continue to have constituent interest in talking to council members about issues that may be important to them. And then on tonight's agenda, if you will, just to walk through it really quick, on item number 4, there will be an amendment. You're probably familiar with this in the past. This is an item that we'll be requesting to vacate, but the amendment is being brought by the city engineers. In addition, items 5 through 7, there may be public input on. Those are assessments for various issues. If I may also just to remind you, as we're moving to have a web greeting for each council member's web page, videotaped by you down at Channel 16. I think you've been sent some emails on the script and then to schedule the time. It should take no more than about 5 to 10 minutes of your time just to run down and shoot that at some point in time this week would be great. And then finally, we're looking at doing another one of our inserts for the water bill inserts concerning council meetings, just at contact information. We printed some extras so that when we continue to do these coffees with the council, we can hand these out for contact information, and they'll contain all of your pictures and your addresses and your phone numbers. So, and those water bill inserts go to over 40,000 people in the city. So it's a pretty effective way to get that information out to the public. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Questions of Deborah? Comments? Mr. Jameson.
I just want to thank Deb and her staff for putting together the coffee with the council. All we had to do was mention it to them, and they took the ball and ran with it. I just wanted to publicly thank them.
Yes, I as well attended the session there, and Mr. Staggers was there for a short time before he went out into the throng there. I think the ribs drew him out the door. There was something cooking over there anyway. And anyway, Councilor Brown and Jameson and myself, we pretty well solved all the city's problems in that hour and a half, and I'm happy to report that. But I understand that the media, report didn't get out in time or wasn't published by the Argus Leader, and that we had some pretty stiff competition out there. And I'm just hoping that the general public will come into these meetings and, I just guess I expected a little bit more turnout, especially since we're heading towards presidential elections on the line, the big votes next week. But we didn't get many takers there, and there was plenty of cookies there. So the next thing, Mayor Munson's office, I don't see anybody present from that. So we're going to go with the Audit Committee.
No report.
No report. Very good, Mr. Costello. Number 5, the Fiscal Committee. We don't have anybody from Fiscal Committee, so I'm going to say no report there. Kenny, Land Use?
We have no report at this time.
No report. Boy, I'll tell you. Number 7 here, Public Services. Vernon?
Actually,
sorry, Mr. Jameson. Is it Mr. Jameson, or is it you too, Kenny?
That is mine also.
Do you have 2 chairs, Kenny?
Yes.
Really?
I guess so.
Boy, that's what you get for being the new guy.
We are having a meeting after the informational meeting today, so no updates at this time.
Very good. What's the subject matter of that meeting, Kenny?
I think that we are going to rediscuss the campaign financing,
Oh, very good.
and then also a little bit on the events ordinance that I'll be proposing.
Very good. Thank you, Kenny. Now we're going to come to the part number 8 here, City Council open discussion. Does anybody have any items that they'd care to bring up? Councilor Knutson.
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to report that I think that we had a really good Housing First Site Committee meeting last week, and County Commissioner Jeff Barth and I were the only elected officials there with some several very capable staff people, of course. And we just had, I think, just an excellent meeting. And I wanted to just kind of tell you where we're going. We set the next meeting for 3 weeks from that day. And I believe, or not I believe, I know that Councilor Anderson and Councilor Litz have received an email on the exact time of that. And of course, if any other councilors want to ever attend that meeting, even on short notice, you're sure welcome to join us. But anyway, we just know that we're kind of starting over in some ways since the Russell Building facility is not available. But we are still very committed to pursuing this project. And in fact, County Commissioner Jeff Barth and I highly encouraged Judy Boozman, Director of Health Department, to work with Hugh Grogan from the county to just start drafting even just a cooperative agreement, you know, just as a starting point as far as moving forward on this project. And we're still encouraging the community to come forward if they have an idea, a piece of land that they would like to give us, or maybe sell to us, but we prefer they give it to us for this worthwhile cause, and or some apartment buildings that would that are basic, that would hold about at least 35 important individuals and some staff also. But again, we are sensitive. There was an apartment building owner that contacted us and showed some interest in trying to sell us that apartment building. But we are sensitive as a group also about displacing other people, important people, to put in chronically homeless people. So anyway, we discussed that apartment building situation a little bit and asking price and so forth and so on. And then we are still quite interested in pursuing the option at Penview, where the Penview Trailer Court was. So after the meeting, County Commissioner Jeff Barth and I drove up there just to kind of review that area. I, of course, had been there before, and so had he. But with the idea of maybe that we might be able to build there someday. And of course, we'd like this to be a community project. We'd really like to get the churches involved from the get-go. Again, we do not want this to be just a county-city project. So we are looking for nonprofits to step forward and help us, and of course the church community. And anyway, it was, well, I probably said enough for today, but it was just an incredibly productive meeting, and I am excited. And then Stacy Teason, our homeless coordinator, who does such a nice job and is so enthusiastic, had just come from Salt Lake City, and she toured 2 facilities that are quite new there, and just lots of good ideas that those people are implementing. And the more I listened to her enthusiastic report, the more I wanted you to all hear it from her and not much more from me. And so that's why, with the council chair's blessing, I have scheduled her to come before us in the very near future to tell us some ideas that we might want to incorporate into our Housing First program.
Thank you for that, Dee. Mr. Brown.
Just to follow up on that, too, there's a subcommittee of the Homeless Advisory Board. I'm a member of this subcommittee, and we are going out looking for partnerships amongst the private sector to help us fund these projects, and we're getting a good reception. People understand the concept, and we hope to report good news to you before too long.
Very good. Thank you for that, Vernon. Any other comments? Mr. Anderson.
Not on that subject. Last week I attended the Sioux Falls Transit discussion meeting that was held here at the council chambers with the general public on trying to resolve some of the issues of financing and routes with transit. And each council member now has one of these packets. I decided to pick up packets and give one to each council member so that you guys were actually informed on what happened during that meeting and what their plan is.
Any questions of Kenny? Or it's a lot of material there. I was kind of perusing it just before I sat down. And Kenny, I'd just like to advise you, don't be wearing Vikings ties to the city council meeting here, because it might offend somebody. But I had something along the lines of the homeless thing here yesterday. I was down on the Old North End, and we went down to look at the piece of street that is the end of Dakota Avenue where it runs into McGuire, because it's in pretty tough shape and probably should be repaired. And I had some discussions with Mark Cotter, and there's a person who lives down there is quite concerned about it. So I think we've got a good plan there to take care of that. But on the way back, I stopped up at the old North Main water tower with my 12-year-old boy, and we went and walked down the hill from there. And some of you may or may not know, I'm an old North End kid, so I used to go sledding down that hill, but it's overgrown with trees quite a bit. But there are homeless people that are living down there. And when I was down there, it was a little bit of an eye-opener for the 12-year-old boy, but when I was 12, I was there. Figured it wasn't going to hurt him. But there was 3 tents down there, canopy, some sleeping bags, other remnants of people living down there. So, if somebody wants to talk about the homeless situation, or if you want to have an impact and bring it home to you, go take a little trip down there. And I advise the daytime so you won't get tangled up in the brush. But it's been that way for 40 years down there. It's that way today. I think there's probably a little bit more sophistication in who's living down there and what they've got down there, because it just used to be a blanket and a pillow. But there's actual kind of a little tent city down there. So. Anyway, that came to my mind when you were talking about that, because to me it's a very real situation. The other thing that I got a couple other things here. I wanted to report to you on the Event Center Task Force that I went to last week, and we were out at the convention center, and we were fed a very decent meal by Ovation Food Services. But we had Sioux Falls' 3 groups that specialize in this type of venue. And one of them was Smith at SMG with Rusty Curtains, had Terry Ellis Schmidt from CVB, and we had Scott Kavanaugh from Global Spectrum came out there. And we talked about a lot of things, and I will say this, that the more we talk about an event center, it seems like a little bit more complex, the issues all get, and there's a lot of material out there, and there's a lot of ideas out there. And I'm sure with Mr. Costello's help there, someday we're gonna come across the best idea for Sioux Falls here. But it's just an incredible amount of information, an incredible amount of possibilities, and we just have to find the right thing for Sioux Falls and the right way to finance that thing. So that's looking down the road. Another thing that I wanted to talk about here was today, this morning, the 57th Street Bridge over by I can't remember, but over by the railroad tracks, just on the southeast corner of Sioux Falls, that opened up. And, I wanted to comment on the safety of it. I hit her doing about 70. No, just kidding. But it's very smooth and very nice. And it's pretty good looking underneath there, too. Underneath that overpass actually looks better than the library over here, if you could believe that. But I think, that is going to set the tone for the one that's going to go in on 69th Street. 85th Street runs into being a little bit different when we get that built, because it's so close to Highway 100. They're going to have to work out a different set of engineering issues over there. So, but I'd like to encourage all you to take a trip over there and go down that 57th Street Bridge. And it is an engineering marvel, and the city of Sioux Falls should be proud that we have these things going on our arterial roads today, and I'd like to keep that going forward. Is there anything else for open discussion here today? Seeing nothing, I guess staff report. Deborah, you've already done that, haven't you? Well, I don't think we're going to. Anybody want to go into executive session? Kermit, maybe? No?
No, I can't think of anything.
All right, very good. Well, I guess unless there's anything else for the good of the order, we're going to stand adjourned. So, well, we stand adjourned.